Rangkaian pelaku rasuah daripada semua peringkat jawatan terlibat secara langsung atau tidak langsung, anda boleh didakwa. Organisasi komersial melakukan kesalahan jika seseorang yang bersekutu secara rasuah memberikan, bersetuju untuk memberikan, menjanjikan atau menawarkan suapan untuk mendapat perniagaan atau faedah untuk organisasi. Organisasi komersial termasuk entiti yang ditubuhkan di bawah Akta Syarikat 2016, Akta Perkongsian 1961 atau Akta Perkongsian Liability Terhad 2012, sama ada di dalam atau di luar Malaysia dan menjalankan keseluruhan atau sebahagian perniagaan di Malaysia. Pesalah boleh dihukum denda 10 kali nilai suapan dengan nilai minimum RM1 juta atau penjara sehingga 20 tahun atau kedua-duanya. Berniaga dengan jujur dan bertanggungjawab. Mempunyai tata cara mencukupi dalam aspek pencegahan. Bebaskan organisasi daripada rasuah. Wujudkan sistem pematuhan yang bersesuaian dan penyaluran maklumat salah laku yang efektif. Amalkan 5 prinsip asas ini, iaitu komitmen pengurusan atasan, analisa risiko rasuah, pelaksanaan langkah kawalan, pemantauan, penilaian dan penguatkuasaan secara sistematik, latihan dan komunikasi. Usaha pencegahan rasuah bukanlah hanya dilakukan sekali, tetapi ianya adalah usaha yang berterusan. Wujudkan persekitaran perniagaan yang sihat dan budaya saing beretika. Untuk maklumat lanjut, sila hubungi nombor tertera.
Assalamualaikum. My name AIMAN NASRULISYAN from KM1104C, and today I gonna introduce to you National Anti-Corruption Plan (NACP). So first of all, Malaysia has attempt to combat corruption were divided into 2 groups early 1959. Focusing on investigation and prevention, the Special Crime Unit of Criminal Investigation Department of the Royal Malaysian Police was taken with investigating corruption crimes, while an anti-corruption agency was established in Prime Minister Department to handle the preventive side. Because anti-corruption activities were carried out by different organizations or agencies, so they have an idea to make it happen in one roof by establishing the Anti-Corruption Agency ACA in 1967, according with the Anti-Corruption Act 1967. Following the passage of the NBI Act 1973, the ACA changed its name to the National Bureau of Investigation (NBI), becoming a full-fledged department under the Home Ministry with increased authority to probe corruption cases, including those of the national interest. Following the passage of ACA Act 1982, NBI was renamed into ACA in order to specialize the anti-corruption organization in terms of its tasks and activities. Next, the construction of an independent anti-corruption body to be known as Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) was overwhelming, approved by Parliament and the government in 2008, replacing the ACA Act 1997 with the MACC Act 2009. Next, National Anti-Corruption Plan, which is NACP, was origin may be tracked back of the 40th General Election (GE), when Pakatan Harapan emphasized effort to ensure Malaysia is known for its integrity rather than corruption. On 18th of June 2018, the Cabinet Special Committee on Anti-Corruption JKKMAR, chaired by Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Dr. Mahathir bin Mohamad, Malaysian 7th Prime Minister, resolved that a comprehensive anti-corruption plan should be drawn by promptly to address the country corruption-related change. So, as a result, the Malaysian government key document the National Anti-Corruption Plan (NACP) define comprehensive and coordinated effort in fight against corruption.
The new government put more effort and gave priority to fighting corruption for the good of Malaysia. To achieve anti-corruption plan, this effort also acts as a framework for transformation towards a clean and respected country. Here are some of the current global trends that have been identified that will have a major impact on governance and anti-corruption efforts. First of all is digitalization. Extensive digitalization in the modernization of public service delivery has reduced face-to-face interactions between the public and civil servant. Card electronic identification, biometric security features, and social services distribution are examples of how technology makes systems accessible, transparent, and accountable. Among the digitalization applied in Malaysia are blockchain. Blockchain can be widely used as a weapon against corruption and fraud. Because of the consensus process, there is a historical record of actions. Blockchain in government, especially in Asia, is starting to gather great momentum as many consider its possibilities for voting. Digitalizing the identification and the tax system. Next is decentralization. Technological advance can also strengthen the joint venture relationship between the government and the public. CO creation process enables the government as a policymaker together with Malaysians to prototype and ensure that policies and initiatives can be implemented more effectively. Besides that is autonomous and hyper-connected. Artificial intelligence AI in an online application can connect directly between producers with consumers. AI will analyze and notify the behavior of ongoing transactions based on a past reference of data to suspicious activities. Facial identification is mainly employed as a security precaution for the transaction point, such as allowing a person to undertake a given job. In addition is blurring of boundaries. In addressing pressures and effort to reduce public expenditure partnership cooperation, public-private partnership that continue over time will affect the public sector. Dr. Mahathir had already established the Malaysia Financial Intelligence Network, MyFinet, a public-private partnership project for financial crime between Bank Negara Malaysia. The PPP will detect suspicious transactions by banking and other reporting institutions more efficiently. The PPP have been crucial as it enables the finance unit, the law enforcement and the reporting agencies to build on collaboration and exchange of information to uncover financial crimes and terrorist funding. Next effort is collaborative. Social media platforms should be leveraged to encourage interaction between the government and the public and encourage more joint ventures. Social media users, whether the government or the public, can communicate and collaborate effectively in various initiatives. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, is devoted to fighting corruption. MACC has been developed and used to distribute information regularly and to respond to our side of news stories and public problems. The methodology utilized in social media, for example, are Facebook, Twitter, blogs, YouTube. Public members might engage actively and gain feedback from social media discussion. The last trend and impact of effort is customization. Customization as needed can be realized with the use of big data analytics. Data and advanced analytics now employed for fraud detection and corruption operate primarily through statistical processing and forecasting analytics. Many technology developers are currently targeted towards data mining methodology and data display to monitor data transaction trends to uncover cases of fraud or corruption. New transactions and data can be processed in real time to notify supervisor of any suspicious activity once the forecasting analytics platform is developed.
The implementation of National Anti-Corruption Plan. Focuses has been considered in developing the NACP initiative and strategy, which is administrative failure, conflict of interest, weak internal control and non-compliance, and lack of transparency. One of the initiatives is to incorporate a new clause in the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act 2009 that criminalize any commercial organisation, individual selling of a government project, tendering a project or tender to another party for monetary gain and others. A complete 5A strategy, which include anticipation, advocacy, alliance, action and accreditation, is used as the framework guiding principle to ensure that the strategic plan's execution is smooth and effective. The government has built a multi-level anti-corruption governing framework to ensure that national anti-corruption programs are implemented efficiently and methodically. The NACP has 3 stages of implementation. There are 3 levels: international, federal, and state. They are linked by the interconnection of federal and state agencies, as well as non-state entities, and they play an important role in the NACP implementation, reporting, and assessment. This connectivity facilitates mutual understanding, the development of sustainable policy, resource sharing commitment, and proper execution. At the implementation stage, it's critical to keep track of all indicators that could suggest potential difficulties. These indicators are the most effective way for the GIACC Secretariat at the JKK-MAR to determine each lead agency implementation strategy. As the main coordinator for NACP implementation, the GIACC will work closely with all relevant parties to support implementation and provide advice as needed. The GIACC will also host biannual coordination performance meetings with key people from all relevant stakeholders in order to track progress and guide them appropriately during the implementation phase. As a result, the relevant stakeholder will be expected to provide a report using a predetermined template to update the progress on the quarterly implementation.
Tradition of corruption among employees have practiced long ago. This tradition of corruption often occurs by giving gift or money for something done or to ask for something. Corruption often occurs among influential individuals in obtaining a job, position, project development offer, political stability, or professional relation, and many more. In addition, corruption also occurs among the authorities, where there are several individuals convicted of corruption cases successfully released because there are individuals who cover them up. The erasure of this tradition is a major challenge in the NACP program, as this is not only happen among the ordinary but also among the enforcement. From time to time, there are several reports of illegal entry of foreigners, and this happens because there are individuals who give or sell fake ID as an affordable price. This fake ID will be used to apply for work, live in the country, and avoid arrest by authorities. And there are also some individuals who want to take advantage by making those foreigners work in the area of the project developer site with low salary offer. The action of these individuals not only increased corruption but also affected national security with the occurrence of robbery and kidnapping, and economic decrease because local citizens had to compete with foreigners for job offer. There are some issues arise regarding falsification of data or financial information of the organization to avoid from MACC authorities, cover up offense committed, and ensure that they are free from any legal action. Effective system in detecting any suspicious action within the organization should be introduced to have an ACP observe, investigated, and detect in the event of an unbalanced outflow of money in and out. And also, NACP should insist that every updated data in the organization should be filled with transparency without any action on phishing information. By improving the system data, it helps in tightening the criminal law of corruption, prevent any organization from engaging in give and take bribes, and ensuring that each sector works in transparent and clean manner so that integrity can be maintained.
The anti-corruption policy developed can help further clarifying this matter besides helping to the safeguard of the agency position in the face of the corruption issue. The benefit of anti-corruption is can enhance the risk assessment and profiling in key government based on the project. This includes various mechanisms that can be used by the organization to know more deeply about the possibility of the corruption occurring in the internal and external, as well as the effect of the anti-corruption. Risk assessment is the basis for the establishment of effective anti-corruption program. The risk assessment results are used to create control and to reduce the risk of the corruption. There are 6 stages of the anti-corruption risk assessment process. The first one is to ensure the commitment and also oversight on the part of superior. Commitment is the higher level and also the key to the effective risk management. The second is plan, scope, and the mobilization. This is so because in the planning stage is to prepare and also provide the foundation for the risk management process. Next is to identify the risk of the corruption. The purpose of the level is to identify and examine the activity and also the source of risk. The next is assessing and prioritizing risk. The level of risk assessment is to know from the corruption has been identified. The last one is use the result of the risk assessment. This is with the result of the risk assessment is can apply as a review of the anti-corruption program. Thus, anti-corruption program can prevent any corruption-related activity that can repent and bring the bad thing to the public. Second benefit of the Malaysian anti-corruption legislation is that it promotes a clean business climate. While good and clean governance may not to be the only solution of the corruption problem today in the business, it also can help business to create an environment where the corruption is treated as the exception rather than the rule, focusing on the ethical benefit also to the smooth operation and allow them to do the business in the national and also international scale. Business environment that is clean from the corruption can create the harmonious atmosphere in the business and also prevent from the corruption. It also can create an integrity index for the public and private sector service in order to analyze the organization ability to control the corruption. Public integrity is the essential to demonstrate by the development and implementation of code of the entity and avoiding the corruption. Therefore, it is clear that ethics and integrity in the business are very important to create a competitive and developed Malaysia. Furthermore, the last benefit of Malaysia anti-corruption is it can uphold the rule of law of Malaysia in ensuring an effective separation of power between the various directions of the government. It is enough to say that this detachment enables a truly independent judiciary, prosecution, and law enforcement based on the fair and also the corruption can be prevented for the country. If the rule of law are not respected, it is surely that no government will be able to rule properly and effectively. It is supposed to ensure the people in general and the government are responsible for the law. Anti-corruption management system implementation in the law is the best effective anti-corruption system and can reduce the risk of corruption. Malaysia anti-corruption can also increase the efficiency and also the accountability of the government based on the good and effective governance. Most importantly, effective and free from the corruption activity can avoid the problem for the next future.
Next, we're gonna talk about recommendation. So, first of all, we need to do a campaign. This is because campaign was a very effective way to make sure every people understand what was the corruption and the way by it's been done by certain people. This is because when people getting an awareness about National Anti-Corruption Plan, they will much concerned about their surrounding, which is who did the corruption and who commit the corruption in just a simple step. If they were aware, we can also decrease the amount of cases in our country constantly until it becomes 0% corruption issues. It also will help us to gain transparency in our people to make sure our society can live happily and prosperity in one nation. So next, campaign also can change their perception towards corruption, which is corruption just can be done by people who have money only. So next, we're gonna talk about practical guide. My next recommendation on practical guide is, which is the Prime Minister Department was guided by developing the NACP by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, UNODC, National Anti-Corruption Strategies, which is a practical guide for development and implementation. It also received support from relevant stakeholders, particularly Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) and the National Audit Department. Furthermore, Malaysia Industry Government Group for High Technology (MIGHT) collaborated with My Foresight to build a comprehensive and useful future anti-corruption scenario planning till 2030. During this developing plan, a number of recommendations and review from worldwide initiatives were also taken into an account. The content proposal from the G20 countries, as well as recommendation from our first and second cycle of the UN Convention Against Corruption Review of Implementation, UNCAC. Next, we can also study about other countries' policy, which is the first one is, in this world, it have a lot of policy. The way we can improve our policy is to study other countries' policy. This is because it's to make sure is it our policy is still relevant and productive to handle a conflict about corruption in this country. Next, the conclusion is, widespread corruption may have a historical root, but it is still an economic and political issue. Inefficiency and inequality are the result of corruption. It is a sign that the political system is not concerned about the general welfare of the populace. It shows that the government framework failed to efficiently channel the private interest. Corruption undermines the economic goals of growth, poverty reduction, and efficient fair markets. Corruption undermines political credibility and right protection. There have a progress in both policy and research in global battle against corruption after 20 years, but there's still much to be done.